Morning's prayer will be offered by Representative Penny. We'd ask everyone to stand for the prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thereafter, Representative Penny.
I'm going to read a few comments, just a few passages from 1 Peter, out of 2nd chapter and verses 1 through 3. Persecution can cause either growth or bitterness in the Christian life. The response determines the result. Both character and conduct must be above reproach. And then the verses, therefore laying aside all malice, all deceit, hypocrisy, envy, and all evil speaking, as newborn babes desire the pure milk of the word, that you may grow thereby, if indeed you have tasted that the Lord is gracious. Pray with me. Father, over the next few days, this chamber is going to take up some things, Father, that we may not all disagree, may not all agree with, but Lord, help us to not be disagreeable. Help us to conduct ourselves with the decorum by which we were elected to serve. And we'd be careful to give you praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John Swain, Representative Clampett, recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Journal for September 18 has been examined and found to be correct. I move that it be approved as written.
Representative Clampett moves the Journal for September 18th be approved as written. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Journal is approved as written. Members, it is the intention that we will be taking up bills this afternoon. The tentative time for session today is 3 p.m. and we will be taking up a number of bills at that time. So I know the Republicans will be caucusing. I think the Democrats, Representative John, may be caucusing as well in between those dates. Conferees are presently signing a conference report for the budget bill. There's a second bill that I don't believe the conference report's ready on that would be taken up this week as well, if it is, but it's still in the drafting process. So votes this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And members should also be aware of any meetings that happen of committees, as bills could be added and would be added today if they come out of the committees between now and then. Any notices or announcements at this time? Anything from the clerk? Seeing nothing further to come before the body, the chair is going to declare that the House will stand in recess, subject to the standards, stipulations of Rule 15.1, as well as to modifications to the calendar, until 3 p.m. this afternoon.
For a person who possesses less than 1 gram of fentanyl, if the person seeks medical assistance for a victim suffering from a drug-related overdose, or is the victim suffering from a drug-related overdose. And so what this bill does is, in fact, like that, our goal is to stop people from dying. And we don't want to have people be afraid to call for help and administer the Narcan and stuff like that. This addresses what I think I heard my colleagues and you say that you wanted to do, and have a limited immunity for the Good Samaritan. That's what this bill does. I'd ask you to just please reconsider because I think there's some good things in here. In fact, some of you voted for the first time around. I'd ask for you just to reconsider. Thank you.
For what purposes is the lady from Mecklenburg, Representative Belk, rise?
To speak once again on the bill.
You're recognized.
I certainly understand what Representative Arp is saying, but by putting such a low dose of fentanyl, and what you're in essence doing is you're stopping people, because it is such a low amount, and what's going to happen is the same thing that I just talked about earlier. If we want to do that, if we want to put a limited immunity, then let's not say distribution. Let's get to the people that I think he's trying to get to, and those are the people who actually sell drugs, and not the people who share them, because that's an easy threshold to pass. Thank you.
For what purpose does the lady from Wake, Representative Von Hafen, rise?
To speak to the bill.
You're recognized to debate the bill.
I don't think anybody debates the fact that we all agree that fentanyl is a major problem and opioid addiction is a major problem in our state, but passing laws like this are not addressing the problem. Advocates are actually opposed to bills like this. I just wanted to state a couple of facts. We passed our death by distribution law back in 2019, and it went into effect on January 1st, 2020. And as the people who ran that bill and advocate for these type of bills say, that they think that that will address the problem and it will reduce overdoses in our state. When in fact, the number of overdose deaths in North Carolina where fentanyl was detected has more than doubled since 2019. The number of overdose deaths in 2019 was 1,490 people. Just last year in 2022, that was 3,062 people overdosed with fentanyl in their system. That includes one of my own constituents' daughters who died of a fentanyl overdose. She is a huge advocate for addressing this problem, but unfortunately, death by distribution cases have only been filed about approximately 46 cases were filed in 2021-22. There was only 10 cases filed in 2019 and 35 cases filed in 2020-2021. Clearly, this is not addressing the problem. As one of the advocates said in opposition to this bill, this is a death by 1,000 cuts. We are just going around the edges of this problem, and bills like this are not going to solve it. Thank you.
Further discussion or debate? Hearing none, the question before the House is the passage of Senate Bill 189 on its second reading. All those in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. The clerk will open the vote. The clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. With 81 voting in the affirmative and 20 in the negative, Senate Bill 189 passes its second reading and without objection will be read a third time.
The General Assembly of North Carolina enacts.
The question before the House is the passage of Senate Bill 189 on its third reading. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The ayes do have it. And Senate Bill 189 has passed its third reading and will be enrolled and sent to the governor. Senate Bill 409, clerk will read.
Senators Britt, McInnes, Craven. Senate Bill 409, a bill to be entitled Criminal Law and Procedural Changes, Civic Youth Group Signs. The General Assembly of North Carolina enacts.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Rockingham, Representative Purtle, rise?
To debate the bill.
The gentleman is recognized to debate the bill.
Thank you. Members, this bill, I'm going to address the first part, and my colleague, Representative Crutchfield, is going to address the second part. I'm going to address the part that deals with cargo theft. Currently, the law provides that breaking or entering into a railroad car, motor vehicle, trailer, airbus, or other water type, craft type of vehicle with intent to commit a felony or larceny is a Class I felony. If the vehicle is owned by a law enforcement agency, the National Guard, or a military organization, it becomes a Class H felony. What this bill simply does is it addresses the amount of goods that is stolen as a result of the larceny. It becomes a Class H felony breaking into one of these types of conveyances if the stolen goods exceeds $1,500 but less than $20,000. It becomes a Class G felony if it exceeds $20,000 but less than $50,000. A Class F if it exceeds $50,000 but less than $100,000, and a Class C if the stolen goods exceed $100,000. The value of the stolen property may be aggregated from multiple violations that occur within a 90-day period, and violations from multiple counties may be aggregated together and prosecuted in any jurisdiction with at least one violation has occurred. This bill is supported by the North Carolina Retail Merchants Association, the Conference of District Attorneys, and the Sheriff's Association. Thank you.
Further discussion or debate? For what purpose does the gentleman from Cabarrus, Representative Crutchfield, rise?
To add to
The
Mr.
gentleman
Purtle's
The gentleman is
conversation.
recognized to debate the bill.
3 sections were added to this bill and rules today. Aggregation of multiple crimes bill. The bill will allow state to bring one financial crime prosecution case of more than one victim from more than one county if the crimes are based on the same act or transaction or series of acts that are connected together or are a part of the common scheme or plan. Example of crimes covered are embezzlement, obtaining property by false pretenses, and exploitation of an older adult. The structure of the aggregated sentencing is consistent with what the General Assembly did in 2022 on Senate Bill 766 with organized crime theft. The second section that's added is the ability to allow civic youth groups to utilize schools for purposes to give presentations about organizations and memberships to students in public schools. The third part is a clarification bill to basically protect small businesses when a piece of property is taken by the DOT for a road widening. What happens is if there's a sign on that property, they're generally paid by the state of North Carolina to move that sign. If it was a legally erected sign in the beginning, the local towns and stuff are often not giving permits because the signs are considered non-conforming, and that basically telling the owner of the property that they can no longer use a sign which they have rightfully paid for. So this is really to secure their rights as a small business owner, property owner, to be either allowed to move their sign or structure or to be compensated accordingly. I'd appreciate your support.
Further discussion or debate? Hearing none, the question before the House is the passage of Senate Bill 409 on its second reading. All those in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. The clerk will open the vote. The clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. With 90 having voted in the affirmative and 8 having voted in the negative, Senate Bill 409 passes its second reading and without objection will be read a third time.
The General Assembly of North Carolina enacts.
The question before the House, further discussion or debate? The question before the House is the passage of Senate Bill 409 on its third reading. All those in favor will vote. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The ayes do have it. And Senate Bill 409 has passed its third reading and will be returned to the Senate. Members of the House will stand at ease momentarily. And one more vote.
While she's doing it, remember a couple of recognitions. On motion of Representative Liu of Wake County, the chair is happy to extend the courtesies of the gallery to Mr. Swallow Yan, who is here along with 3 students, Cindy, Emma, and Jason, who are all from Iowa. The students are visiting as they learn about state government here in North Carolina. Would y'all please stand so we could welcome you? Oh, They apparently just left, so please give them our regards. Representative Hall is recognized to send forth committee report. The clerk will read.
Representative Hall, Rules, Calendar, and Operations of the House Committee Report. Senate Bill 68, City of Hendersonville, Parking Meter Proceeds. Favorable House Committee Sub, unfavorable to the original bill.
The original bill is placed on the unfavorable calendar. The chair rules that the House Committee substitute is material, which would therefore constitute the first reading. As a result, the bill is placed on the calendar for tomorrow, September the 20th. Can now officially welcome you. Thanks for being with us today. Members, we're going to go back to Senate Bill 749. Representative Harrison has requested that her amendment be returned to her. So, Mr. Clerk, the chair directs that the amendment be returned to Representative Harrison. By way of explanation, members, we are attempting to get this bill passed out on second and third this evening. And so what the chair has done is spoken with Representative Harrison and is working to give the lady additional time to draw, if the lady wishes to revise the amendment this evening. So we can proceed to a second reading, and then we can tentatively hold third reading, but the chair is going to hold that open to give the lady time to get the amendment done. And if it looks like the amendment can't be done today, the chair is going to move the amendment, going to move third reading to tomorrow, but was trying to get this bill over to the Senate to try to keep this bill on schedule. So we're now going to go back to the second reading. There are no further amendments for the body. There's no members recognized who are seeking to speak. So the question for the House is the passage of Senate Bill 749 on second reading. Those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will open the vote. Representative Brisson, did the gentleman intend to vote no? Representative Daw, I need you to be a good influence over there. The clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. 60 having voted in the affirmative, 41 in the negative. Senate Bill 749 passed the second reading without objection. Be ever read a third time. However, the chair is going to displace the bill at third reading. The lady is recognized to read, and then we'll displace it. The clerk will read the bill a third time.
The General Assembly of North Carolina enacts.
Chair is going to direct that the bill at this time be displaced. So, Representative Harrison, if the lady will work on the amendment, we're going to take a recess here and come back afterwards, and so that would give the lady a few minutes to try to draft that up and see where we are. Okay. The gentleman from Wayne, Representative Bell, is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Republicans, we will caucus in 1228 immediately upon recess. Please be prompt.
And to the Republican members, would ask that you immediately go to 1228 upon recess for a mandatory caucus of Republican members. Any notices of announcements before the chair puts the House in recess? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, members, the chair is going to declare that the House shall stand in recess until 5:50.
Hey viewers, here I just fast forwarded a whole bunch and had to cut a little bit out because they were just taking forever to get back to the meeting.
Members, the last remaining bill on today's calendar, of course, is Senate Bill 749. It's already been read for a third time, and so the bill is before the body. Representative Harrison is recognized to send forth an amendment. The clerk will read.
Representative Harrison moves to amend the bill.
Lady from Gilbert, Representative Harrison is recognized to debate the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I appreciate your indulgence as we tried to clarify and get this amendment in the kind of shape it needed to be considered tonight. What I'm offering, and the point of it was that we currently have an uneven number at the county board and the state board level, but once we move into this proposed even divide at the county and state level, we are looking at potential deadlock. And all my amendments that I read today were meant to address that, and this one was too. That made it very clear that if there was there couldn't be this protest, and that you had to certify the election, and you couldn't let this partisan protest come in and intervene. We know that this has happened in North Carolina, in Surry County. It happened in Michigan, y'all may remember, where they had a county board that was deadlocked up in Michigan until one individual member decided not to join in the false election results, failure to certify the election results. So what I'm offering here just clarifies. I want to say again, there's enough ambiguity in the statute that this requires clarification about certifying the elections. This amendment is going to make clear that county and state boards must release and approve the vote totals in the canvass unless there is a protest pending. And that protest pending piece is identified in the state statutes that clarifies they can't be frivolous protests. It's a belt and suspenders change to ensure that there's confidence in the results of our elections. The law provides a process for protests in case there is a question about an election, but members of the Board of Elections cannot hold up an election result unless that process is in play. So that's all this amendment does. I'm sorry it took so long to get it in the shape that it is in for you to consider it in this body. I would encourage your support. Thank you.
The gentleman from Iredell, Representative Mills, is recognized to debate the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I would urge you to vote against this amendment. It really just brings more questions to the situation than it addresses. So I would ask that you please vote no to this particular amendment. Thank you.
Further discussion or debate on the amendment? Seeing none, the question for the House is the passage of the amendment sent forth by Representative Harrison. All those in favor will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no. The clerk will open the vote. Clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. 39 having voted in the affirmative and 54 in the negative. The amendment fails. Members, is there further discussion or debate on third reading? Seeing none, the question for the House is the passage of the House Committee substitute to Senate Bill 749 on third reading. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair? The ayes have it. The ayes do have it. And House Bill 749, having passed its third reading, will be ordered engrossed and returned to the Senate for concurrence. Members, that's it for the calendar for today. We'll move on to notices and announcements. Seeing none. For what purpose does the gentleman from Wayne, Representative Longest, rise?
With your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, I'd just like to take a brief moment of personal privilege.
The gentleman's recognized for a point of personal privilege.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I'd like to wish a very happy birthday to my legislative assistant, Cora Martin, who had her 23rd birthday, her Jordan year, yesterday. She's up in the gallery right there. Happy birthday, Cora.
And members, before folks clear out, the chair wants to give some guidance on the schedule for tomorrow. There will be a non-voting session in the morning at 9:45 a.m. Chair anticipates a voting session to take place at 2 p.m. The gentleman from Wayne, Representative Bell, is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Republicans, we will have a caucus tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Please check your inbox. Please be prompt. Thank you.
For what purpose, the gentleman from Guilford, Representative Hardister, rise?
Mr. Speaker, Representative Faircloth was in the chamber in the last vote, but I believe he was given a thumbs up.
Representative Hardister, Representative Faircloth, rather, will be recorded as having voted. Strike that. Is the gentleman talking about the amendment?
I believe he was outside the chamber on the amendment, but came in on the bill. So
Okay.
thumbs up on the bill.
That's right. I heard him from the hallway say aye, I believe, on third reading. For what purpose, the lady from Guilford, Representative Clemens, rise?
An announcement.
Ladies recognized for an announcement.
Thank you. Democrats will caucus tomorrow morning also at 10 o'clock in our normal room.
Further notices or announcements? Representative Faircloth, will the gentleman approach the dais, please? And Representative Hardister, will the gentleman approach the dais? Members, Representative Faircloth was in the chamber on Representative Harrison's last amendment, which should be recorded as having voted no. Without objection, will be recorded as having voted no. Members, if there are no further notices or announcements, the gentleman from Columbus, Representative Jones, is recognized for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn to reconvene Wednesday, September 20th at 9:45 a.m., subject to the standard stipulations set forth in Rule 15.1.
Representative Jones is moved, seconded by Representative Art. The House to adjourn to reconvene Wednesday, September 20th at 9:45 a.m., subject to the standard stipulations set forth in Rule 15.1. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the House is adjourned.